Hey, today I'm going to talk about Little Monsters, Election, and In the Heights. Now, this is the part where I say something clever that gets you to continue watching this. I couldn't think of anything, so you're just going to have to look at my beautiful face. First up is Little Monsters. This is a 2019 Australian movie. Whole reason I wanted to watch it is because Lupita, she is just... How is she so beautiful? Like, it doesn't seem like it's physically possible for someone to be this beautiful. And then on top of that, she is just an insanely talented actor. Like, she won the lottery twice. What the hell, man? The basic premise is Lupita plays a kindergarten teacher, and well, on a field trip to a farm, the zombie apocalypse happens. I actually crazy love this movie. And what's so interesting too is that once the story gets going, you know every single plot point and character moment that's gonna happen for the rest of the movie. Like, nothing is gonna surprise you in this movie. But it doesn't matter because the movie just excretes so much charm and humor that you're smiling the entire time. You're just having such a good time. It doesn't matter that you know the next 10 things that are gonna happen. You're just happy. It's good. It's so funny and it's so charming, and Peta's great in it. Like, all the actors are great in it. Even the child actors are really solid. I like the little chunkier one who wants to play mini golf. I vibe with him. This movie like immediately drew me in too, because the first section is, it doesn't focus, Lupita's not the main character, it's this other guy. The first like 5 minutes, she's just like constantly fighting with his girlfriend. But it's hilarious. Like, we don't hear what they talk about, we just kind of see them yell at each other, and it's really funny. And I think it takes a lot of skill to make something that's normally very sad and upsetting into something that's actually really, really funny. It set the bar really high for the rest of the movie, and the rest of the movie nailed it. It's so good. I would recommend this movie to anyone, especially if you love zombie movies. This is a must watch. If you just want a good fun time, this is you're in for a treat. If you can't handle gore, there is some gore in there, but it's never like that bad. You honestly don't have anything to worry about. And if you do like gore, it's some good moments. There's some good moments. So yeah, watch this movie. It's freaking great. Next up is Election. This is a 1999 movie starring Reese Witherspoon and Matthew Broderick. The basic premise is Reese Witherspoon plays a high schooler who is running for student body president. And then Matthew Broderick plays a teacher who really doesn't like her, but has a lot of his own stuff going on. I was very pleasantly surprised by this movie. I really loved the story. I especially loved at one point, I was like, I have no idea how this movie's gonna end. Like, I don't know where it's gonna go. Like, obviously, the election is gonna happen, and they set up immediately like there's gonna be like some sort of scandalous thing that happens in the election. Is it gonna be something like ridiculous and over the top, or is it gonna be something kind of more normal, but it's still gonna be a scandalous thing? What's the scandalous thing? And I think they actually really delivered on what it is. It fits, it definitely fits with this movie, and I really love the end of this movie. This is actually based off of a book, and the book has a slightly different ending, but reading about that, I'm like, that ending does not fit with how they portrayed the story in this movie. It maybe work for the book, but it definitely does not work for this movie. I would almost describe it as like a dark comedy. It's kind of about like corruption-ish stuff within elections, not even just like candidate stuff, but also just like the other people behind the scenes of elections. Definitely not like a teenager comedy. It's more of an adult comedy. I particularly liked the characters in it, especially the two main characters, because they could be very one-dimensional characters, but they gave them so many layers that made them just fascinating. And then even like the two kind of side characters, there's a person who runs against Reese Witherspoon's character in the election, him and then his sister. They're kind of more one note, but it works really, really well. Like, he's kind of a dumb jock, pretty boy thing, but he has so much charm that like him just kind of being a dumb jock really adds to his character. And then his sister, I also really loved because it's a teenage gay love story thing. She's delightful and funny and it's great. But yeah, this movie is a delight. I'm so glad I took a chance on it. It's definitely worth it if you're interested. It's a really solid movie. And lastly is In the Heights. I am gonna be so careful with how I talk about this movie because people really, really love this movie. And I didn't. I didn't hate it. I did not hate it. I am more middle of the road on this movie. I thought it was fine. I wasn't blown away by it. I definitely had really high hopes for it, and it didn't match them. My main complaint about this movie is that there is just too much going on. There are so many plots in this movie, and just the thing is so bloated. Like, a perfect example of a storyline that we absolutely did not need was Lin-Manuel's cameo. He plays that ice shaver guy. His whole story added nothing to this movie. It just reinforced things we already know about the neighborhood. And apparently when they were coming up with the film version of the movie, they were gonna cut that character's storyline completely. But then someone was like, hey Lin, they're gonna cut the ice guy. You should cameo as him so then they can't cut it. And he's like, perfect, I love it. And no, that was the wrong choice. The movie's bloated, we don't need this, get rid of it. But yeah, I fully recognize that I am in the minority about this movie. Like, most people crazy love this movie. Got like a 97% of Rotten Tomatoes. Fans are loving it. It's just, it's doing gangbusters. Even though I do think the movie's bloated, it really just breaks down to, simplest way to put it is I couldn't find myself in this movie, not because I'm white. I just couldn't find myself in this movie. Breaking it down more, I couldn't find myself in this movie because I could see little bits of myself, but like the movie had so many storylines and so many plots to get through that like it just didn't have any time to like expand on those interesting moments. So yeah, sorry I don't love this movie as much as you do. Still good, I still enjoyed it. It's just, you know, not the life-changing experience I was kind of hoping for. Alrighty, now for today's rankings. First up, we got Little Monsters sitting in number 20 in the really liked category. It just, I connected with this movie so much. I love this movie so much. It's so adorable. It's so great. It's just, you gotta watch it. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And then after that is Election, sitting at number 72 in the quite like section. Going from 20 to 72 feels like such a big jump, but like Election is still also a really solid movie. I enjoyed it a ton. And then bringing up the rear is In the Heights, sitting at number 111 in the liked category. Like I said, I thought it was middle of the road. It's right in the middle of the liked category, so it can't get more middle of the road than it already is. And this is out of a total of 165 movies so far this year. Just to clarify real quick, yes, 111 is not half of 165, but that's because I watch way more movies that I really like, and I don't watch that many movies that I don't like. Because who wants to put yourself in pain? I'm not a masochist.